All right. So we are live. Um, hey, everybody. Vikas here again from InstaWP. We have a special guest today, Robert from Melapress. Hey, Robert.
Hello, hi. Thanks, Vikas, for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking time to come on our podcast, as we all like to call it. We are honored to have you. Your products and you have been on the market for quite some time, and I guess you get a lot of love for especially the activity log plugin. And you have recently rebranded. So I'm just going to give a gist of what we are trying to talk about today, just to give a little bit of teaser to our audience, and then we'll get into the actual meaty nitty gritties in a bit. Let's start to welcome people. So we have Ray. We have about on my StreamYard, I can see about 28 people online. So hey everybody, I have logged in from Bangalore, India. Robert, where are you from right now?
I am based in Netherlands, in a small town called Wiegen, by the border in Germany.
And you are Dutch by birth.
No, I'm actually Maltese, but I've lived in a number of countries, but yeah, for the last 5 years, I've been living in the Netherlands.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay. How do you find it? Is it good climate, good people?
No, yeah, it's very nice. I lived before here. I lived also in. I'm originally from Malta, so I lived also in Cyprus, which is similar to Malta, Mediterranean culture. Then I moved to Scotland, and now I'm based in the Netherlands. Uh, the weather is definitely better than Scotland because it's always raining. But Scotland, of course, it's a very beautiful country. Even here, it's beautiful, but of course, it's different. Yeah, people are friendly. In fact, one of the reasons why I chose these towns because I knew some people through Yoast. In fact, I'm from walking distance from the Yoast office headquarters.
Oh, nice,
Yes.
nice. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So we have people all over the world. Hey Ray, hey Natalie, Eric, Nicole, Andy, Bart, um, Joel, and I think somebody has greeted you in Dutch or
Yeah, yeah.
Maltese.
Goedemorgen, Robert. Yeah, that's in Dutch. In Dutch, yeah. Saying
Okay.
good morning, basically. Yeah, but it's actually
Good
evening now.
morning to you as well, Eric. Hey, Yaroslav from Ukraine. Welcome. Ray's wife is Dutch, so good stuff.
Yes,
Nice.
there's quite a big community in the Netherlands, a big WordPress community in general.
All right. All right. So let's dive right into it. I think we have waited for a couple of minutes and we have done some introductions. As I said, thanks again, Robert, for joining in. In this podcast, in this webinar today, we are going to learn how to monitor and secure your WordPress website. Um, WordPress historically has been a little bit of notorious in when it comes to security, especially due to misconfigured plugins and using vulnerable null plugins, and then also some other factors as well. So we will consider those. So Robert, very briefly, means why is security so close to you? Why did you develop security plugins and not like let's say form plugin?
Okay. I've always in my career, I've always worked for software companies. I've always worked for security software companies. So of course, yeah, it's one of the topics that I know the most. I'm familiar with. And yeah, I discovered WordPress around uh, 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. I started like that because we needed a blog like everyone else, quite frankly. And yeah, we looked at WordPress. And as a security company, as you said, in the early days, now it's not a big issue, and it's still an issue, but before it was much, when it comes to security, WordPress was the early days. So yeah, there were still a lot of issues and stuff. In fact, back then we had even tried to develop a product back then as well, an online service. Yeah, and so basically that didn't work out. But then I went as freelance, and yeah, I was quite surprised when you have like especially a system that allows multiple users to work together, that has
Mhm.
no logging at all, no source of activity, no activity logging. And yeah,
Mhm.
slowly I started that plugin as a project. Yeah, and the rest basically this was the first plugin, and then yeah, we kept on working on it, and now we have more plugins. But yeah, that's mostly how it all started, and that's why we're still in security, because of course, I have mostly my career is mostly related with security.
All right. Thanks for sharing that, Robert. I guess what you're trying, what I'm listening is that since you know a lot about security and you found a gap in WordPress security, I think there's a lot to do. So why don't we just, excuse me, something's wrong.
No worries.
In the meantime, maybe we can introduce more people. Helen,
There's Len, there's Johan from France,
hey Johan,
Yaroslav from Ukraine. Quite an
bonsoir.
international audience. Yeah.
Yeah, quite an international audience. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. So let's just jump right into it, Robert. Shall we? And
Yes.
the idea for today's webinar is to be very technical, understand what is going on in the WordPress site and how to protect it, basically how to monitor and protect it. So let's get started. So I'm going to share the tab. I hope everybody is able to look at it and see it. I will try to in this. Yeah. So Ray, the session will be recorded, and in case, so if you miss it, you can always watch it at a later point. And I'm going to share my screen. I've already shared it. So and we'll try to take the questions as we go, because this is going to be a little bit of more interactive question. So if you have a doubt, just feel free to post it in the comment section, and we'll try to take it up. Thank you. All right. So my screen is shared. So today only my throat is getting some issues. Otherwise, it is generally fine. So that's how it goes. So I'm going to just create those who are familiar with InstaWP. You will know this window a lot. And I'm going to go to the security tab, and we have a partnership with Robert's team, Melapress, and we have activated two plugins for you, or like as an option. So you can select the activity log and the two-factor plugin automatically. And there are two more plugins which we will talk about as we progress. So let's go ahead and create a site. And this is where the InstaWP magic comes in. It automatically creates the site for you within seconds. And you get the URL, you get the username, password, you get DB editor, code editor, logs viewer, all in one shot. You can do a magic login. You can copy this magic login link and give it to your colleagues, your team, your clients, and it shows up here. We recently did a repositioning. We are now calling every site as staging site, and we have launched our own hosting. So you can do staging, hosting, and everything with InstaWP. So let's get started. I hope this tab is also shared. Let me go back and no, this is not shared. I think now the tab has changed. Did it?
Now we're still seeing the InstaWP dashboard.
Okay, that's weird. Let me try to share it again. Present, share my screen. Sorry for this. All right. Yeah, how about now? Is it working well?
No, it's still loading, I think.
Why I'm not able to share my screen? Just just a second, guys. Just give me a moment. Yeah, just a bit of technical glitch. Let's figure
No,
it out.
it's live, so it's expected. It's fine.
Yeah.
Have
So
someone, Abraham
let's.
from Scotland as well. Hello, Abraham.
Hey, Abraham.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in. So I'm just trying to figure out how to share my screen, and you might feel that in 2024 I would know that. So yeah, let's wait for a moment while I share. All right, so present again, try again. Hopefully this time it will work. How about now?
Still, yep, there it is. Yep, okay.
All right, so I think the WordPress website is now loading. And somehow, when I do streaming, all our websites become non-responsive for some reason. So that's not a good look, but that's how happens. Every time I share my screen, something will go wrong. Let me change my network just a bit. Give me a moment, guys. Am I back?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm
Yep.
back. All right.
Yes.
Thanks everybody for staying intact. We still have 36 people on the webinar. Appreciate everybody. Hey Hemant from Mumbai. All right. So I hope you are able to see the screen and let's get started. So when I go to the plugins screen, you will see that the two plugins which we selected earlier, those who have just joined, we started with going into the InstaWP dashboard, clicking on add new security, clicking on Melapress's 2 plugin and creating a site. And then we logged into the website with some hiccups, and now we are back. So before we get started, I think with the activity log, which is the flagship plugin which you guys have, let's talk about two-factor authentication. Very briefly, why do we need two-factor authentication? Can we talk about that?
Yes, definitely. It's like adding an additional layer of security to your
Okay.
authentication process, basically. So instead of logging in just with a username and password, you also have to either enter a one-time code via the mobile, for example, or click a link sent to you via email or something like that. The idea is, even in cases, there are quite a number of benefits, but for example, let's say in an unfortunate event, your credentials are someone guesses your credentials or gets your credentials, they still cannot log
Hmm.
in because, of
Hmm.
course, they need a one-time code from your mobile, for example, or access to your email where you have to
So,
click a link.
so what you're saying is that even if your username password is compromised somehow, they will still need a second way of to authenticate it. So that's the name of two-factor authentication.
Correct.
So how,
Yeah.
Mhm. So how do I go about doing it? So I guess it is already selected some methods for me. The two one
Yes.
time 2FA and one time via email. So
Yes.
what are
You're
the
looking
next
at it
steps?
from the administrator point of view. So basically, you
Okay.
can see that you can enforce it on users. As a
Mhm.
user, imagine you're a user. Like you log into the website right now, if you enforce it and you get
So
a
if I log out, will it ask me two factor?
if you enforce it, can you scroll a bit further up, please?
Okay.
Yeah, there.
Uh,
Enforce to
Down
FA
or
to
up?
there, where
Is
you are.
this right?
Enforce to FA. Yes, correct. To all users, for example, click there,
So let's say I will say
or
all
specific
users.
users, for example.
Okay.
Um, and there you have a grace period there. 3 days, yeah. So if
So
you log out right now and log in with a username and password, not with the magic login, because of course that's a bit
yeah.
different.
So
Now
that so
correct.
if
If you
I save this, if I save this right now, will
yeah,
it it is it now enabled already?
yeah, it's going to ask you to configure to FA. So now if you log out and log in, as soon as you log
Oh,
out and
okay,
log in,
got it.
it will
So
ask
it will
you
not ask me right now. It will ask me when I
no.
log in for the first time.
Yes, you don't want to be
So
kind of like the idea was not to be too invasive with users, like let them do their work. That's why we also have grace period. So you can configure it. By default it's 3 days. So as soon as you log in, it's going to ask you like, hi, you have 3 days to configure to FA, or you can give it a week, whatever. You can configure any value you want. And yeah, and then you can configure to FA.
got it. So I'm going to paste the username and password which I've copied over from InstaWP dashboard.
There you go.
And this is where I'm going to save this right now. And I can, so this is the grace period, which says I will do it later for 3 days.
Exactly. Yeah. Or you can
And
configure it
after
to
three
FA.
days, it will not even allow me to do login without doing anything. All right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now I can do via an app. So I
Yes,
just need to scan it.
exactly. And once you scan it, click I'm ready. It will ask you for a verification code and
Mhm. So I
basically
use Authy as I think you can use Google Authenticator.
yes, any 2FA application, any 2FA app does the job
Mhm.
basically. Yes.
All right. All right. So let me just copy over the code. So because I am on the
Yeah.
same desktop, so I'm
Exactly.
going
You
to
can copy
go.
the code or scan the QR with a mobile, basically. So
All right. So I'm going to save this and the code is now generated. So I'm going to say ready and validate and save. So this is where people can save their backup code. So in case they
ye-
lose.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's say, I don't know, your mobile ran out of battery or something and you need to log in quickly. Ideally, you should print this list. You can generate a new list every time
Right.
you
You
use
can.
them. And yeah,
Okay. Right.
so in case
Depends
your mobile
upon
doesn't.
how important this is, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So if I now log out, log back in,
There you go.
and if I need to use a password, or sorry, passcode to log in, and then boom.
Yeah. So
And since
imagine
it is
someone.
imposed on, go ahead.
Exactly. Imagine someone guessed your credentials, but they don't have access to your 2FA app or mobile. Then of course they cannot log in.
That is awesome. I think we should, with people who are listening to this webinar, I will suggest you to go ahead and do it for all your website, which are important to your clients or yourself, so
Mhm.
that even though, especially for, means you can actually go ahead and do it for administrators only.
Yes, of course you can select, yeah, just specific users or specific roles
So
and
I
stuff
need to
like that.
type the role
Yeah,
and then save it. So
exactly.
at least it will do it for the administrator. So depending upon your need, you can do all of this. So Robert, everything is available in the free version. why,
Yes,
why do
yes.
I need the? Okay.
Very good question. First of all, before I forget, let me answer, because Ray asked a question. Will passkeys be supported? Yes, it's definitely something in our pipeline. In regards to free, so the free, yes, it is quite frankly a fully functional to a face solution, and yeah, many websites use the free edition. There are no limitations. You would When you upgrade to free, you get more other 2FA methods like via SMS and other stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, you also get, for example, instead of backup codes, you can get backup emails, so you don't have to print in the codes. You just get an email, for example, if you don't have the mobile.
So basically, is that the same 80-20 rule, right, in WordPress? So 80% of the functionality is available as
Yeah.
free, and the
No, it
20%.
is. It is. It's a fully working solution. Of course, there are some things like trusted devices, for example. So you will not asked every time. If you're using the same laptop, for example, you're not asked every time you try to log in. You can save that
Right.
device as trusted for a number of days. Like more automation, more automation, more comfort and stuff like that, basically, rather than.
All right. So why don't we why don't we combine this talk together with the login security plugin which you have?
Okay.
And do you want to talk about the CAPTCHA first, maybe?
Um, Whatever works for CAPTCHA is it's a bit more. It's CAPTCHA for WP space for WP. Yeah.
Or you want to talk about login
Or login
security?
security is better because it fits in more into this Melapress login
Okay.
security.
So we are
It's
basically talking about
If you scroll down, yeah,
securing.
it's a new plugin. The free edition it's new, so you have to scroll down a bit.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
while we show this to the
Mhm.
users, I think that's I wanted to show an important feature of InstaWP which can be used in such cases, especially. So I'm going to share the screen again, on which shows the InstaWP dashboard. Excuse me. For all this trouble, I'm going to share my entire screen so that all this trouble goes away. All right. So if, let's say, if I type Melapress login security, and if I go to the WordPress plugin repository, and if I want to install this plugin into my website, all I need to do is drag this URL into InstaWP and drop it into the website. And
That's
I
a very nice
bet,
feature. Yeah.
Robert, you didn't know that, right?
No, and by the way, we use InstaWP extensively for our testing, of course. So we're all the time,
Thanks
if you
for
speak to our testing team, all the time spinning up websites, deleting, you will use a lot of the templates and stuff. Yeah, we use it extensively.
Thank you. Thank you. So Melapress login security is now installed. Where do I go next?
There's login security at the bottom,
Okay,
and you can enable the security policies basically from there. And yeah, so basically you have a number of
get it
password
now. Okay.
policies,
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, password expiration policy, disallow old passwords and stuff like that. The free edition, yeah, with the free edition you can set up a number of password policies, and
Hmm.
you can also um, change the login URL, the default WordPress login URL. Um, in the premium edition, of course, we have a number of features like to disable inactive users. You can also restrict the time the time during which users can log in. For example, you can say, listen, all
Yeah.
administrators or all users can log
I
in only
guess
from
this option is really useful when people are setting up websites
yes.
for, right? So even if you know the password, like Google Workspace or whatever, right? Do you allow them to reset their password, or you force them to reset the password?
Yes,
Um,
it's quite handy. There's also, in fact, in the top right corner, that button resets all users' passwords. If you ever doubt something went wrong, whatever, just click that one. It will stop all the session and send an email to everyone to reset their passwords basically, and they cannot log in before they change their
is
password.
this, I think the real one of the real use case for this is to actually, when if you are suspecting of a hack attempt on a
Yes,
website, right?
yes. In fact, quite often, yeah, people install it. Do you have this? Yes, they install it right away. Reset all users' password just for that reason. Especially
So if
if
I
you
do
have a
this
small
right
site.
now,
Mhm. Yeah,
and but I will, since our servers don't have emails to be sent,
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
then it will be difficult for me to reset the password.
You'll end up locked out.
Uh,
So yeah, you
yeah,
shouldn't.
I'll be end up logged out. All right. So forms and placements. What does that mean?
By default, of password policies can only be applied to WordPress native forms, basically.
Okay.
But in the premium edition, of course, we have literally one-click support to a number of third party, like membership and other plugins which usually have login forms, like WooCommerce, Paid Membership Pro, and stuff like that. Yeah, and other similar
All right.
plugins.
And this is the changing of the login page URL, right?
Correct. Yes.
So you can say, let's say the login page is login instead of wplogin.php.
Exactly. Yes. And then yeah, the idea is, of course, um, yeah, to avoid, especially with automated attacks, automated scanners, you're hiding a
So it
bit of
avoids the
password.
brute force attacks and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Anything else you want to cover in this,
No,
or shall we
basically it's
move to the
just yeah,
next
an
one?
additional yeah. I think both to FA, of course, takes it to the next level, but also even though you have to FA, a strong password is still recommended. And one thing I like to
Mhm.
add with this plugin is because one of the biggest issues with passwords, people are like, oh, I don't want to use complicated passwords, I'll forget them. It's always important to educate people to use password managers, tools like password managers.
Hmm.
So then of course they don't have problems with passwords and so. And of course they don't have to remember any passwords. Just most password managers nowadays have like auto input, auto play, and they just input the user and password for you automatically.
Nice. So I guess next we should go to the advanced no captcha and install it on our website. Go to the plugin section again,
I really like this feature. It's really
and
handy. It makes it really fast. Yeah.
yeah, it is. Yeah, getting started with the captcha for plugin, and then okay, nice. We have a wizard, so
Yes.
basically I can go ahead and use and Google reCAPTCHA version 2.1. What is
Exactly.
this?
Yeah.
What is
So
the difference
basically,
between?
yes. Google Recaptcha is a type of captcha service. In the free edition,
Mhm,
by the way, we only support Google Recaptcha, but in the premium, you can choose HCAPTCHA, Cloudflare, Einstein, and other services. And Google
mhm,
have three different types of captchas. There's the first one, version 2, is when you have, I'm sure you've seen it, you want to click to fill in a form and you see that checkbox, I'm not a robot kind of thing.
right.
That's version 2. Yeah, the first one, version 2. Yeah, they're different. Yeah. Then there's the second version 2 that is kind of like transparent.
Mhm.
And it only shows I'm not a robot when it suspects it's spam. And version 3 is completely automated. It's runs
Which
in the
one will you recommend generally?
it really depends on the traffic and what type of form. Like in a contact form, I would say go for the I'm not a robot where people actually click. However, in a WooCommerce checkout, just to be safe, there's not like you want to, of course, in an e-commerce checkout, you want to reduce the friction with users, too many checks and stuff like that. So I would go for version 3, for example, because of course it only
So,
triggers or pops up like when it suspects their spam. And by the way, we also have a failover technology in the
mhm,
plugin. So if version 3, which is an automated check, fails, you can
right.
configure it and say, listen, redirect the user to this page or show the user a capture a version 2 not a robot or stuff like that. So even if
Mhm,
it's automated, at least if something goes wrong, you're still if there's a false negative, you're still
mhm.
not losing a customer or a potential prospect, basically. So you can
Nice. Got it.
configure if the automated process isn't able it falsely detects it as a spam, a prospect as a spam,
Mhm,
then at least you give them
mhm.
the option to interact with the website and still proceed with the order or what they need to do on your solution, basically.
Got it. And the next step is to go ahead and create a reCAPTCHA key for the domain.
Exactly.
So
Because the
I
plugin
need
as
to
such,
copy.
what the plugin is doing is not doing any captcha checks itself. It's like a connector between your WordPress website and the captcha service.
All right. And I need to select the V2 and I'm not a
Yeah, I'm not a
robot
robot. Yeah,
tick
for
box
example. Yeah, yeah.
and click on submit. So this should create a copy site key and I put the site key here. And this shows that this is brilliant, by the way.
Thank
So
you.
it
Yeah, it
shows
asks you, in fact, yeah, to confirm that yeah you got the correct keys.
this is nice. This is a very nice touch. So secret key, validate. Yeah. So everything is now set up. This is, I think that this is one of the good example of how to set up a wizard.
Thanks.
Nice. So what will happen now is do I get like a reCAPTCHA on my
That's if you
post
go to
pages?
settings and placements. No, captcha. If you go to
Okay,
captcha,
so still need to do
yeah.
some settings. Okay. So
Uh,
settings and placement, and I can do comment form, login form,
yes.
and probably save it. And if I upgrade to premium, I get integration with all these plugins, right?
Yes, exactly. You can just
Okay.
yeah with one click and add them to those
So I refresh hello world form, then I
services.
get this. Awesome. I think that's so simple, right? Do you also do some performance enhancement where if the page doesn't have a comment plugin, then you don't even load it, or that is something you are trying to work on?
Correct. No, no. In fact, captcha the actual captcha is only called as in like we just hook whether for example the comments or the login page. So it's only the service is only called when there's that loading. Other than that, it's not.
Yeah.
Version 3,
So
you
if
have the
I
option. That's kind of like Google technology. You have the option in version 3, like you can load it in the background on all the pages.
Mhm.
So kind of it learns about the behavior of your website visitors. So it will be able to better determine what is spam and what is not, basically. But again, that's optional if you want to only.
All right, so let's try to log out, and we have a captcha here as well.
Yeah.
Why do we need a captcha on the login form, Robert?
Um, it again, it's another layer of security, as in like again,
Hmm.
avoiding bots, especially dictionary attacks. They can easily submit. So if there's a captcha, you're stopping those type of attacks. That's very important. However, although it's important, I think the biggest use for captcha is spam comments, especially when it comes to e-commerce sites with fake registrations, fake orders, and stuff like that. It's very big. Of course, in the login page is still useful, it's handy,
Hmm.
especially to stop bots. But yeah, its biggest use case is definitely e-commerce, fake or membership websites, fake registrations, forums, fake forum postings, and stuff like that. Mostly, yes.
Got it. So far, what we have listened so far is two-factor authentication and CAPTCHA. So two-factor protects your leaked passwords, and it acts an extra bit of security to your WordPress site.
Correct.
CAPTCHA is more or less like a security slash spam solution. So I guess a lot of websites which are hosted on WordPress get spam from day one,
Yes.
and they might use like a Kismet or any other plugin. But before even doing that, you can just go ahead and do CAPTCHA, install CAPTCHA plugin, and it will solve almost everything. And by the way, I have not upgraded to any of your premium plans yet, and I'm able to perform every function. So that's great.
Thanks.
That is
Thanks. Yeah, we
something which
try.
which
Yeah,
I really
the
loved.
the free edition plugins they should be at least a working solution, or like even captcha, for example. Or at least you can have captcha on the WordPress native forms, registration, comments, login page,
So,
password reset,
so
etc.
protecting your users, protecting your WordPress sites through spam and bad actors. I think login security also adds to that. So let's jump into the flagship product which you have, which is the activity log, which is already installed, and I believe it might have recorded some of the events already.
Yes, we
So
can close that notification. That's
this
for
is
an
the
upgrade process.
configuration.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. And this is to upgrade if you want to.
yeah.
And this is a search functionality. And we will try the new search functionality. But before that, let's have a look at different activity which we have performed. So the user performed page view on a page
Mm.
and hello world. And then I logged out and logged in. There are a bunch of different audit logs which I can see. Let's say if I wanted to check if somebody has logged in, so what do I type here?
You can either check for the event ID. If you go to our website, there's a whole list of event IDs, what every ID means, if it's either a login, for example, or stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
for example, in
where,
this case, if you search for event, if you search for 1000, it will show you all the event ID 1000s,
okay,
basically.
if I search on it, uh, right. So this shows me that these users have logged in again and again.
Mhm. You can
How do I
also
use
search.
this?
So
Sorry,
basically,
go
let's
ahead.
it's almost like an insurance, as in like ideally the activity log you should leave it running in the background, and ideally you should never need it, quite frankly. But then of course, if something happened, by the way, many it's a security tool, but it's more than a security tool. It's also about user accountability and stuff like
It's
that.
a
Like
monitoring tool, right? More monitoring
exactly.
and security.
Yeah, let's say especially we see it a lot in support. Like someone has a big WooCommerce or e-commerce or whatever, and they have a big team working together. Like, okay, someone
Right.
by mistake
Hmm.
changed the
Hmm.
stock or changed some shipping details, whatever. So you can go back to this and see, okay, who changed the shipping details on that order, for example, and you can see these details. So for even like if you go right now and create a new user, for example, and change this role, you will see different events.
Okay, let's try that.
Yeah,
So let's add a new user. Let's say I'm a bad actor and I'm adding a new user for myself. Uh, Vikas, new user, and maybe my email ID. I think I already have one, so I will have to use
yeah.
another one and generate password, copy it.
That's by
And
the that's
this
our
is
plugin. That's our plugin telling you, yeah, it's
awesome. I figured
giving you
that out.
tips.
So
Yeah,
I think, let's say if I do a very strong password, which is password.
yeah.
So this not allow me to create an
the,
account?
the green is telling you one thing, which for us one the reason why I developed this plugin basically because there are a few other good plugins out there, but they tell
Hmm.
you password is not strong enough, and that's very frustrating for a user, especially if they're not technical. It's not strong enough.
Right.
And here we're telling you, like the green one, it means you're matching that criteria. The
Hmm.
red ones, it means
So
you're
it
not
must
matching them.
continue.
So
All right. So
must
let's
contain
keep
numbers,
adding
must
some
there
stuff.
exactly must contain uppercase and
So,
lowercase. There, you see, and so
so
now
this
you
is
can use.
also one of
Yes,
the most abused password
I know. In fact,
ever.
one of the things we're trying to do now, like have some sort of built-in dictionaries and stuff, so we can check for the most common. But yeah, that's all. As I said, this is
But it still
relatively new
doesn't
plugin.
allow me to create. I think, okay, so this is like still insecure, is what it believes. So
Okay,
I
yes,
need
strong and secure. Yeah,
to,
there you go. Yeah,
all right, so let's add new user. So once I have added this user, this will become an activity log event,
yeah.
which
There, it
says the
created a
user
new
is now
user. The
created.
event ID. If you change its role, for example, now, or if that user logs in and change the name or changes something, then of course you're going to see the activity from that user as well.
So if I change it to author and update it, so that is, so everything, whatever is doing, I'm doing is recorded, right?
Correct. There it is. Change
And if
the
I just want to see only the red events, how do I filter that?
critical. That it's in the because the advanced search filters are available in the premium edition. So in the free edition, you
Oh,
have
I
you
see.
have free text searches. You can type anything there you
Hmm.
want, and you'll find it. If you want filters, like dates, severity, specific per user or IP address, or specific by object or event type, then of course those are advanced filters which are available in the premium edition.
Got it. All right, nice. And what about email SMS notifications?
Yeah, that's premium as well. So you can literally configure the plugin and say, listen, if there's this event or if this user does X, Y, etc., send me
Hmm.
an email. And of course, you have multiple criteria. You can have use the and or operands. For example, if user logs in and
Right.
this is the time or this is the time, then.
So for the SMS feature, do I need to use my own SMS account somewhere, Twilio or something, or will you provide that?
For SMS, yes. For SMS, you need to use Twilio. We're looking into
Okay.
partnering with some other ones, but yeah, you need your own Twilio. We try because even with 2FA, we have SMS integration. We try to
Okay.
keep it kind of like as the plugin as light as possible. So like you have to integrate with Twilio yourself rather than coming with a bulk library ourselves, and you have much more. Like even in terms of payments, you have to pay us for the SMS. We have to pay some. Just keeping it simple.
Got it. And this is the search filters you were talking about earlier, right?
Correct. You get a number of search phrases. Yeah. If I may, like someone's raise, I think, a question: will the log be available via API as JSON or exportable? Yeah, that's a premium in the sorry, that's a feature in the premium edition. Logs can be exported to a log file, a number of different formats, also to third-party services like Amazon CloudWatch and stuff like that. Yes.
Does it have like a some kind of security scanner built in, or it will just tell you that a PHP file was uploaded or whatever, right?
No, it will tell you if a PHP was. We have a free plugin, by the way,
Mhm.
Melapress file monitor. We just
Okay,
uploaded today, so we still need to tweak a bit the integration between that plugin and WP Activity Lock. But
let's
yes,
have a
this,
look at it.
yeah,
Sorry, file. What is the name?
Melapress file monitor. We just changed the name today, so I'm sure we won't. Yeah,
I
there it
think
is.
is
That's, yeah,
that
there it is.
that
Yeah,
is it. Okay.
yep.
So let's try to install that too. Well, let's do a, beta testing right away.
Yeah, it's
So so this is the file monitoring. I
yes,
think this is very close to my heart because if somebody hacks my site, God forbid, but if I know which file was changed, I think that is awesome. So this is the scan frequency. Sorry, I moved too
exact
fast. And it
frequency.
will automatically do like, oh, you have an hourly scan as well. Very nice. And it will scan the core files. This is where the bad actors actually update,
In
right?
fact, what this one does, the core files, it checks with the WordPress.org repo. It checks
Nice.
if there are differences
And
between
we can exclude
your
all these
website. Yeah.
files.
Yes,
Nice.
add, remove, and yeah.
To make it faster and things like that. Very nice. So if I complete and run the scan, it will try to find any changes to the file system,
Exactly.
right?
And what we have
Mhm.
right now, if when the scan is starting and finishes, it reports them in the activity log. Um, some of them might not be reported right now because I said we just uploaded this today. But in the next update of WP Activity Log, we'll refine that one. But yeah, when there are file changes, you'll see it in the logs as well. Like there were file changes, click here, and then you'll go to the plugin to see the changes.
Okay, let's try to do that. So let me open the
It's
code.
this we just uploaded today, so it might not work this part, but because we still need to do some changes from WP Activity Log.
Okay, so the concept is sound. If I change, let's say, WP load and add, so this is considered as core file, right?
Yeah, you can change a comment, quite frankly, just keep it easy, not
Yeah.
to break things. Yeah,
So adding a bad file update just to all right, so saving it and now going back to this, and maybe I can scan
again, yeah,
a new, yeah, and it will just do an entire scan again, and it will
correct.
do it hourly, right? For
Yes, if you
Mhm.
set it up to hourly, you can do it daily, weekly. I mean, of course, it depends. I think it really depends on the criticality of your website. You know, like some people maybe might do it daily, some people it might be important hourly. It really depends. There you go.
Oh, awesome! So it has identified a core file modifications automatically.
Yeah.
This is
At the
something I
moment,
think is real. Mhm.
yeah, we don't have. It doesn't highlight what has changed, but it is coming for sure. That's coming very soon. It
Okay,
will
and it
actually will have
has
some sort of diff, basically.
identified it had identified some of the directories which we add for the core editor.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it has identified that as well. So something which we didn't expect has been identified, which is really good. And if I go back to the activity log, what all things which we have seen so far. So
There you go.
this is awesome. So you are creating your own ecosystem of plugins
Exactly. Yeah.
together.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So is it possible for other plugin authors to push stuff into activity log?
Yes, we have a number of hooks. Basically, we have a like an API, basically. And yes, you can create your
Nice.
own extension.
Mhm.
Uh, in fact, we do have a number of customers who have their own extension. They install it. Basically, it's very easy. We have everything is documented, and yeah, basically you can fire your own events here and show whatever you
And if
want
I
there
wanted to
whenever something happens.
purge all the events, how will I purge it?
Yes, it's in the settings. You go in the settings, advanced settings, I think. Yeah, and there's an option to purge. Yeah, there it is. Purge or reset the plugin
Mhm.
settings.
So table has been reset and we don't
There.
have anything. And this, okay, this is awesome
That's
because
it's a
this was the
security
last
kind of
event.
feature because if
Right.
someone purges.
So there will be at least one log,
Yes,
even if let's say the hacker purged the system. At least we know that the hacker has
it's been
done it.
purged. Yeah.
So integration wise, I think you have a bunch of integrations to push,
Yes,
let's say, to Slack and syslog server or whatnot.
exactly. Slack, AWS CloudWatch, Papertrail, Logly, and other solutions.
And these are the logged in users right now to the platform, right?
Yes, once you, because of course we're keeping the log, we know exactly who's logged in and what's their last change or action. So basically, if you upgrade to premium, you can see who's logged in right now and their last
And
action
this is
and
the
stuff like
premium
that.
feature which where somebody asked if you can export the log.
Yeah, these are
This
then you can
feature is
have
available.
reports, statistical reports, and stuff like that. Yes,
Nice. And then you can write your own parser on the report and like generate some kind of
exactly. Yeah, yeah. In fact,
nice, very
even reports
nice.
can be white labeled with your logo, and stuff like that. So
Right, 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 right. So yeah, so we have discussed a lot of things today, Robert. I guess this was a little bit helpful to who have joined in. Let's take some of the questions, I guess. So, Yaroslav, use activity log when managing clients on care plans, especially those who break something and they say they were not logged in. So that's funny. Uh, Amazing.
yeah,
I'm going to
unfortunately, yes, it's what it's it's widely used by agencies for one of those unfortunate reasons. You have, I'm sure
That's a
agencies
great
are
use
familiar with
case.
this. Yeah,
Yeah, file scanning. So Yaroslav, yeah, this is new. I think Robert said that they will have to tweak something. He was being modest a little bit, but these kind of plugins are really complex in nature. I think that will develop over time. So
thanks very much.
annotate. Does the activity log plugin have any effect on the front end user, or will it only affect those who have to log in?
Very good question. No, it only runs in the backend. So in fact, it only keeps a log of what logged in users are doing. So it has absolutely no. It doesn't load when someone is just browsing your website as a visitor, basically.
Okay,
And
but
also in the
that is
backend, we have customers even like with tens of thousands of users. And yeah, I mean the plugin is now 10 years old. Last year we really worked hard. It was one of the biggest. We had a lot of big updates. We refactored the core completely now. I mean we have years of experience now in this area. So yeah, we've been really working hard in terms of performance. It's negligible, quite frankly.
nice, nice. I think that may be one of the concern for many users. If something like an
Yes,
activity log is means creating so many events, will it be affecting? But I guess what you said is since this is a very mature product, you have worked on the performance a lot because without the performance, nobody will want to sacrifice. So it is always security versus performance, right? In a lot of discussion.
correct. Yes, correct. I mean, like any other plugin, as I said, it's 10 years old. Of course, the first 2 3 years we had some problem, but now, of course, it's really matured as a product. So
So Bart asked if you can restore the changed plugin from the repo.
very good
Is
question.
it
No, at the moment,
possible
no,
yet?
but yeah, I mean, I said it's new. So we just released a version today, as in like the previous versions. We had this plugin, and just today we released a new. But it's not an update of what was there previously. We have completely the last 3 months. We've learned a lot from the previous plugin that we had, and we've completely. It's not even a refactoring. It's completely rewritten. It's a new plugin. So and basically we've written it in a way so we can easily integrate these type of features. For example, you see a file diff of what changed, or restore a file maybe from the repo and stuff like that.
Uh, Whoever is creative minded, you have actually read my mind. So sorry for the pun. So the vision which we have with InstaWP Connect. So Robert, you might not be aware. So we have a plugin called Connect. So that is like a remote management plugin, right, which you can install on your website. Although we will work on a smaller version of the activity log, but we will not be able to provide the information which you have done. So what I want to open that up is can you export or can they view activity log on InstaWP dashboard via your plugin, right? So what are the activity? So I am sure you must have hooks and APIs which
We
we
do.
can talk to, right? And so the experience which I want to bring into InstaWP is that in Shopify, if somebody has used Shopify or those apps, then the apps work inside the main panel. You don't actually need to log into the admin panel of a shop to use those.
Okay.
So it works like a SaaS plus plugin model. So in this case also, if somebody is not able to log in or they don't want to log in, they still want to see the activity log in the InstaWP UI, they should be able to. And if they want to do like further operations, they will just have a click of a button to go inside, deep link inside the activity log page.
That's very interesting.
So
Yeah, I'm sure it's something that can definitely be done. Yes.
So we'll definitely work on that integration. Thanks for that question. We are almost at the end of the presentation. I will like to ask Robert, for WordPress has been a little bit of has a bad name when it comes to security. What are we have talked about a lot, means do two factor for your website, do captcha and monitor your logs or whatever, right? Apart from these, what are the some suggestion which comes to your mind when securing a website or making sure a lot of people on this audience are agencies, freelancers who are working for clients. Nobody wants to get their client site hacked, right? So what are some of the security tips and best practices which you can share with us?
One thing that WordPress, especially as we said before, in the early days, it's true that it had a lot of security issues, but now it's, I don't know how many years, how old WordPress is, but now it's matured a lot as a product. In fact, the majority of security issues that it has now is because kind of like a bit contradictory, because it's very easy to use, and a lot of users who have no experience of what it takes to run a website, they just set up a website. Oh, let's set up a website, user admin, password admin. So of course they're going to get hacked. So as such, it's not WordPress fault in that case. So the majority of issues are low hanging fruit issues, which are, and most of the time are user issues, like weak passwords, plugins not updated. So of course, by adding to FA and yeah, password policies, active draw, you're always improving security. However, like if you install WordPress, use a secure password, and of course store that password securely. Always access your WordPress from secure connections. Always keep your software up to date. That's already like a good step towards
I
security.
agree.
Like
I agree.
you don't need a lot of. That's already a very good step. Especially for a basic website. Of course, as you grow, if you have more users, multiple users, authors, adding to FA and stuff like that will of course enhance the security of that website, and you need to as the crowd grows and as the website grows. But honestly, like using secure credentials, accessing your website through to secure networks, not any hotel Wi-Fi, for example, or stuff like that. Keeping your software up to date, yeah, quite frankly, that's mostly about it. And you have a very, and also I think it's very important. I know, of course, free things are nice, but yeah, go avoid, definitely you shouldn't use null software or null plugin. Not just for WordPress, even on your computers. Uh, buy the
Yeah, I
license
think
and buy
that's
the
one
official
of the
software.
biggest source which I have also seen of viruses. And also as you said, keep an eye out for if a plugin. So all these plugins are provided by different vendors, right? These are not provided by the WordPress Automatic or WordPress.co.org or whatever, right? The team behind the open source software. These plugins are developed by individual developers. So it is possible they have not used the best security practices or they might have missed something. So whenever there is a plugin is vulnerable, there is notification which goes out. In fact, we have that available in InstaWP. So let me show you how you do that. So if you go inside a website, you will see vulnerability scanner at the bottom of this, and this works on both staging sites and as well as hosted sites. So click on that, and obviously you need to be on a paid plan. uh, why am I not on a paid plan? So
You're the
that's
founder.
something I need to yeah. So while I talk about it, I think I can add that. So even if you don't have that functionality, actually this is a good thing, right? So I can show you how to add that functionality if you don't have it. So go to the add-on section, add it to your account as an add-on, confirm it, and then you don't need to upgrade to. So this is just a hack to get the functionality without paying for a higher plan. But once you do that and you go back to the staging site, you will see that the option works well, and it will tell you if you have any security uh, problems, like in terms of vulnerable plugins, right? So not everything will be told by this. This is specific to scanning a vulnerable plugin or theme or core, right? All of these
Good.
will be scanned and given back to you.
Good.
And it's a
In fact,
Mhm.
sorry, finish.
You go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, one thing that's important to point out, because many people are like, oh, that plugin had a vulnerability in the past. Having vulnerabilities is not an issue. Actually, it means uh, the more vulnerabilities that have been fixed, quite frankly, it means the more secure that software is, the more people have seen it. The most important when using a plugin is like how quickly does the vendor respond to a vulnerability. Like, listen, because there have been cases in the past where the vulnerability was reported and it was never fixed. But if the vendor we had vulnerabilities in the past on our plugin. If you know like if you reply within time, fix the release the patch and everything, that's fine. Every software in the world will have some sort of vulnerability. No software is kind of like guaranteed without any security issues.
Yeah, there
So
is. So that's why I think people say that security is an ongoing process. It's not a destination.
exactly,
It's, you just keep adding those layers and layers of best practices, tips,
yeah,
tools, which increases the security, which decreases the surface area of attacks. Right. So that's the
exactly,
right word to use.
yeah. And even with
So
websites,
creative.
even
Mhm.
with websites,
Go
like when
ahead.
people think that security is a one-time fix, like okay, I install security plugin, I install activity log to FA, I'm done. No, it's actually as the website changes, maybe you add new functionality, maybe you add this and that, or maybe new people come on board. You need to create new security best practice. You need to create new guidelines. You need to create maybe use a new plugin because you added something. So yeah, it's never a one-time fix. Quite frankly, yeah, as you said, it's a
Got
whole
it.
journey.
We have another question. Will you be ever creating like an all-in-one access pass or something like that for Melapress for all the
Yes,
things?
it's in the works. It's in the works. Before we had a bit of licensing issue because we had different licensing models for different plugins. Now, last week, in fact, we just announced new plans, new pricing. Now everything is kind of like aligned together. So now it will be much easier to create like a one single fee for all the plugins or stuff like that. Yes, like bundles. Yes.
That's awesome. Awesome. Thanks for asking these questions. Thanks, Sandy. Thanks, everybody. Dave, for being on the call. If we don't have any more questions for Robert, we would like to end the webinar and thank Robert for his time today.
Yeah. I'd like to thank you as well, Vigat, because we use, since we discovered InstaWP, as we spoke even in the background, yeah, we use it extensively. It's really made the testing process of our plugins way easier. And I didn't know about this URL copy URL. That's even easier because as you know, as a vendor, you test your plugin with many other different plugins and stuff, different scenarios. So yeah,
By the
and we
way, one more
Mhm.
quick tip on that is you can drag and drop a zip file on your local system.
Okay, okay,
That also works.
nice,
So,
good to know, good to know, good.
so
So
if you're
yeah,
trying,
we use
let's
it.
say your beta
Yeah,
version, so beta
yeah.
version can be dropped and then can be tested.
Nice. We use it extensively, not just in testing, also in support, by the way. Because of course, you receive support email. We have this, we have this. You emulate it in SWP. You easily spin up a website, create templates. No, it's made our life much easier.
Thank you, Robert, for saying that. And thanks everybody, Bart, Ray, for gracing us with your presence. And Robert, we expect to see a lot of updates, especially on the file integrity monitor. I'm personally very interested because file integration is something, file integrity protection is something the hackers will definitely like mess against, right? They upload
Exactly.
something, they modify the core files of WordPress, and we never know what they have done. So I'll really looking forward to it and looking forward to all the new stuff which you guys will bring, and really appreciate you on the call today.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting us. Thanks, Vikas. Have a good day.
Thanks everybody. Thanks for
Thanks.